friends, it's me, Andrew. Welcome back to my channel. Now, all of my creative people out there, how many times has this happened to you? Some well-meaning family member, alright, your mom, is out shopping and she sees a nice fabric. And since she knows that you sew, she figures, well, I'll get him some of this fabric. And he can make something like, say, a dress for her. So she brings you this fabric and you're looking at it and you're like, Ma, how do these things even go together? Well, as you may have guessed, I have recently found myself in that very situation. Purple sparkles, pink and blue flowers. These things, Vash, can you marry these things? What are you gonna do? You're gonna put the purple behind the flowers and look at that and, ooh.
I'm gonna start this off with a sketch. First, I'll draw my nice hourglass shape. And then I'll use my embroidered fabric to make a nice overlay. I'm going to have the overlay gathered down at the hips and tied up with a nice pretty bow. And then I'm going to put in a sweetheart neckline. It's going to be a strapless dress with an A-line skirt.
Best way to see how a fabric is going to behave is just to put it on a body. Or in this case, about 40% of a body. So this is going to be my base layer. Then I'm going to use my embroidered fabric as like an overlayer. Nice bow, have it open in the front like so. Hopefully it'll flutter behind you if there's a stiff enough breeze. Although mesh, the air goes right through it. I don't know if it can flutter. And that is my base design. This piece right there. Gotta figure out where the top of this thing is. I don't remember. Okay, so I sewed the right side seam together, and I must say, my measurements were perfect. Well, it's time to see if the left side is just as perfect, huh? Let's see how successful I am this go around, huh? Okay. It was better on the other side. Oh well. Pretty close, regardless. I don't know if you remember my handy dandy dress form. Put this right over. Got to pin it on. Now I'm putting the side seam directly on the side. I'm putting the pins where the seam is going to be. So that's 5/8 into the seam allowance here. Not exactly sure where it's going to be. So it's not going to lay quite so flat. It's going to be more outward like that. Once you get that foundation piece in there. Check that out. Ooh. Okay, now I'm going to do the side panels for the dress. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring this seam down so that it's underneath the overlay. I've already tied the fabric where it's gonna be about. It'll look something sort of like this, maybe not exactly, but it's gonna have this downward. I'll take my original pattern. Add my 2 inches. This is the back piece that I already made. You can see right in the corner here, I took it down about 1 inch. To get my fabric the right direction.
Okay. I'm going to attach these side pieces to my back piece. It doesn't really stretch that way, but it definitely stretches that way, so that's good. That means I was laying all the fabric pieces down in the right direction. Okay, let's hope my machine is working right today. It was acting up the other day. It turns out all I had to do was change the sewing needle and it seems to have fixed the problem. Alright, next step here is just to put the side to the front. I'm going to do both sides first, and then we'll do the waist seam afterward, because that's going to be a little more complicated than what we're used to. Okay, I'm going to stop right here, because this is the original waistline. I did not cut down the 2 inches on the outside of the dress. I want to make sure I get that exactly right. I don't want to be guessing. I'll cut the stitching right there. They call that breaking the stitching. I'm going to flip it to the other side. I stay stitched where the seam allowance is, so I know right where I need to start. So I'm going to sew up back to where I left off. I got to go back up the other side. First, I'm going to do the rest of the front. That gives me the seam allowance I want, hopefully. So the front side, the bust is created. Now the back is still open. This is the waist. To come around, hit there. All the way around, hit there, and go all the way back to the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this right sides together. This is going to be the most difficult seam to do. Mainly because it's the kind of seam you don't see often. Okay, I think I got it. Gonna cross our fingers and hope for the best. Hey, now we're at the point where the dress is wearable. Look how it came out. I already put in the foundation in the zipper. If you want to see how I did that, I've done that for another dress in past videos. You can check those out. Now the next thing I can do is work on the overlay. I'm gonna break this up into 2 separate videos. So the next time I see you, I'll be working with this nice fabric here. So I hope you like and subscribe and come back to see this dress finished up. I promise you, it really does look spectacular at the end. Now, I don't know how many of you folks out there do this, but I like to drape my fabric directly on my dress form. I don't know how many of you out there like to do this, but here is my ceiling. Enjoy looking at it. That is my ceiling fan. Quite useful this time of year. This is where fabric number 2 comes in.
And there's the floor. And that concludes the tour of my bedroom. Hopefully, this camera has some other ideas, I think. I simply cannot wait until I'm done sewing to see what a dress looks like. I know you can probably relate. They should write a Paula Cole song about me. I don't want to wait for Drew to be done sewing. I want to see what this dress looks like right now. I don't want to wait for Andrew to stop sewing. I need to see what this dress looks like right now. Ooh.